Leica is about to pull an absolute Apple Silicon move that will shock the entire camera world, and honestly, the traditional camera giants are not ready for what is coming. For years, the legendary German brand stayed quiet while Sony, Canon, Nikon, and Fujifilm flooded the market with relentless, incremental updates. Every single month, we got another camera body promising more megapixels, faster autofocus, and slightly better AI tracking. The entire industry got trapped in a non-stop loop of upgrades, trying to convince you that your current gear was instantly obsolete. During all of this noise, Leica seemed completely absent from the conversation. Some people assumed they simply fell behind technologically. Others figured they were too hyper-focused on nostalgia and luxury status to compete with modern mirrorless systems. But the latest supply chain leaks suggest that this silence was entirely intentional. Instead of playing a losing game in the endless race of minor spec bumps, Leica spent the last few years quietly planning a massive, dual-pronged comeback. According to growing whispers from manufacturing lines, they are preparing two completely different cameras that will completely redefine how we look at the brand. One is set to reinvent the classic rangefinder experience, while the other is a massive push straight into the high-end professional market with absolute force. If even half of this data is accurate, we are looking at the biggest product shift in their modern history. Let us start with the next generation M series model because it is already causing massive debates among purists and collectors. The M lineup has always stood for a totally different philosophy compared to feature-heavy modern bodies. They never cared about endless menus or overwhelming specification sheets. It was all about simplicity, tactile precision, and a direct connection to the scene. But current supply chain reports indicate Leica is preparing the biggest structural transformation this series has seen in decades. The biggest rumor involves a custom-built sensor designed entirely in-house. Instead of relying on the same third-party imaging technology used by everyone else across the industry, Leica is taking the Apple approach to vertical integration. Reports out of the ELEC indicate they want total control over how their hardware renders images from the ground up. The supply chain data points to a sensor landing somewhere between 40 and 45 megapixels, though some test units are floating around with even higher numbers. But look, the real story here is not the raw resolution. Leica never built its legacy on megapixel counts. Their whole identity revolves around color rendering, tonal depth, and that specific, rendering character. A fully custom sensor allows them to tune those elements perfectly, creating a unique visual signature that no off-the-shelf Sony sensor can replicate. Now, this next leak is going to divide the community instantly. Multiple sources close to DigiTimes claim Leica might completely eliminate the mechanical shutter from the new M camera. For traditional photographers, that quiet, mechanical click is the soul of the camera. It is a signature experience. Removing it is a massive gamble that a lot of purists will hate immediately. But when you look at the practical side, a fully electronic shutter makes a ton of sense. Completely silent shooting makes the camera entirely invisible for street photography. You can capture genuine, candid moments without anyone realizing a lens is pointed at them. Plus, getting rid of moving mechanical parts eliminates internal vibrations entirely. That means you can shoot handheld at much slower shutter speeds and still get perfectly sharp images. Think about it like Cupertino dropping the headphone jack or removing legacy ports. It feels painful at first, but the performance upside is hard to ignore. Are you willing to give up the mechanical shutter click for a totally silent street camera? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I am genuinely torn on this one. To back up that electronic shutter, leaks from Makotakara point to the addition of in-body image stabilization. This would be an absolute first for the M series. Adding stabilization directly to the sensor completely transforms low-light shooting. You will be able to capture incredibly sharp handheld images without cranking your ISO to noisy levels or carrying a tripod. When you pair sensor stabilization with their legendary prime lenses, You get a wild amount of flexibility while keeping that ultra-clean, minimalist footprint. Ross Young from Display Supply Chain Consultants has also hinted at a hybrid viewfinder system. This setup apparently merges the classic optical rangefinder with modern electronic overlays. You get the best of both worlds. You can shoot with the traditional glass window, but see real-time exposure previews, focus peaking, and digital framing lines projected right into your eye. They are not throwing away their heritage. They are just modernizing it so it actually works in a modern professional workflow. We are also expecting a slightly thinner body design, a stripped-down menu interface, and a much larger, sharper rear touchscreen. But while the new M body focuses on refining the emotional side of photography, Leica's second project is a pure flex of engineering power. They are building a mirrorless medium format system designed to fight Fujifilm and Hasselblad head-on. Their older medium format options had incredible glass, but the bodies were slow, bulky, and felt completely outdated compared to modern mirrorless options. This new system changes everything. According to insiders tracking component orders, this beast features a massive medium format sensor exceeding 100 megapixels, paired with an entirely new image processor. For high-end fashion, commercial work, and large-scale architecture, this level of detail is insane. The dynamic range leaks suggest you can recover shadow detail that would be totally lost on a standard full-frame camera. But Leica knows that crazy image quality means nothing if the camera is too slow to use on a real set. That is why they are introducing an AI-powered autofocus system with advanced subject tracking. Medium format has traditionally struggled with moving subjects because the lenses are heavy and the processing load is massive. This new chip brings computational tracking to the large format world, meaning you can actually use this thing for dynamic action, editorial movement, and even high-end video production. The video specs are where they might actually stun the industry. The supply chain leaks suggest full support for 6K and even 8K internal recording, using professional log profiles and utilizing that massive sensor area. That turns this camera into a legitimate hybrid cinema tool. They are adding dual card slots, an articulating monitor, and heavy-duty thermal management to prevent throttling during long shoots. Yes, the price tag will include a massive luxury premium. You will definitely pay the ultimate camera tax for this setup. But the performance metrics show a tool built to dominate the commercial space. Current production timelines suggest we will see official teasers toward the end of 2026, with full global availability rolling out in early 2027. When you look at both of these projects together, it is clear that Leica is rewriting its entire playbook. One camera is all about preserving the pure soul and tactile feeling of photography while carefully injecting modern tools. The other is a raw demonstration of processing power, designed to prove they can compete at the highest level of commercial production. They are avoiding the trap of chasing minor spec sheets and focusing heavily on how a camera actually feels to operate. If they pull this off, they will not just reclaim the spotlight, they might change the trajectory of the premium camera market for good.